robbers coming together in the garage to split the cash. However, as you saw, a lot of things went wrong.
Yeah, Ken Easy and I wrote, directed, edited, and started my short film Time Space. It certainly took a lot of time to make, and it's not like everyone will get on that.
I'm Jeremy Bird, and I wrote and directed Break Trust as the first film song. It was a lot of fun to make, and it's my friend Chris's story.
Good. Anyone have questions?
So, for Root of All Evil, were you in any way influenced by, the director of Kill Bill? I forgot his name.
Quentin Tarantino.
Tarantino, yeah. Was that in any way influenced by Quentin Tarantino?
I guess you could say, I guess I hadn't really thought of that before, but I guess watching the films and making the comparison, it makes sense.
Anyone else have questions? I'll throw this one out there. What was the hardest thing to surprise you all, when you got into this? Was there something that you thought easy was?
Well, with varsity, the shot especially was running. Of course, I needed some kind of, well, first of all, I didn't have a steady cam or wide cam or anything, so I knew I needed some kind of tracking system or some kind of way for to stabilize the camera so I could film her while she was running. And I was going to have a friend of mine, I was going to borrow his car, and then on the day of the shoot, he basically bailed out. I think he had something going on or whatever, something happened. And so I wasn't able to use the car, so instead I had to use a bike, and then I would ride my bike and I would hold the tripod one-handed. So I think it just goes to show that, like, you have to adapt, and you have to, like, be able to overcome problems, because, like, you're always going to run into problems whenever you're trying to shoot something. It's just kind of inevitable. Like, I found that nothing ever quite goes to plan, so it's always good to have backup plans, and it's always good to be able to, like, adapt to certain problems, so.
I would have to say the biggest problem I had with the Root of All Evil, I had typecasted some of my friends and some of their mannerisms into the roles that I had. So I was like, this is going to be perfect, it's going to go absolutely well. And actually on the day of the shoot, my friend called in and he was like, oh man, I'm sick. And I was like, okay, well, we can combine a character. And then I had another friend call in and say, I'm sorry, I can't make it. I have driver's ed today. We paid like $300 for this class. I was like, oh my gosh. So I ended up just calling on my friend. I was like, can your little brother, does he act at all? Because the one actress that I had actually had lined up, she was in the theater community. So I was like, oh, this is great. I'm going to be able to get some real quality star power here. So just like, name's Ryan, right? Just like Ryan said, I'd have to say that you definitely have to adapt to stuff that doesn't go to plan.
The hardest part of Time Space, the film that I made, was probably getting help from my friends. Like, some of them couldn't help me out at this time, so I had to adapt and whatnot. Earlier on, when I was writing the script, I wasn't planning to actually be in my own movie. That was mainly because I couldn't find anyone else to do it, and no one else really wanted to. So I decided to adapt to that, and I just kind of wrote it towards myself.
get this film made. I mean, with all of the cancellations on actors and stuff, I knew he had to I asked him to step up to the plate, and he did a great job of it, so thank you, Marshall.
I have a question for each of you. If you could tell me if you have any directors or filmmakers that you enjoy, or any favorite films that you've seen.
Well, there are tons of favorite directors. Obviously, I'm a big Spielberg fan. Also, Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino, Robert Zemeckis, and yeah, I mean, there's like so many. It's just hard to name one.
I would have to say that one of my top directors would have to be Wes Craven of Nightmare on Elm Street fame, and also Scream. Scream is probably definitely one of my favorite movie franchises that goes around in the horror genre. Just the way that he presents stuff, it's not always black and white. There's some gray area, whereas you don't know who the killer is, and you don't see it coming, and it kind of makes you wait until the very end to see it, and I enjoy a movie like that. I also enjoy Alfred Hitchcock. He, original film director, obviously, with Psycho. That would also be one of my top genres, just the way that he presented it. You didn't really see what was coming until the very end. Like I said, I definitely enjoy a movie like that.
Yeah, they basically said a lot of my favorites. I'm a big Spielberg fan, along with really enjoy Christopher Nolan's work. He's just done a lot, and it's not really inspired by Spielberg. His thoughts is Spielberg.
I have to say I'm a fan of James Cameron and George Lucas. I've always liked Star Wars ever since I was a kid, and James Cameron does a lot of really good things that I like in the movie, like The Terminator, a lot of action, really good visual effects and stuff like that.
I have a question. Of all the ways that you could decide to express yourself, you can go into painting or drawing or writing or anything like that. Why movies? Why do you guys choose movies to express yourselves?
I think it's because it's another way to go about it. Like maybe some people they don't think like about drawing and painting stuff on canvas, writing on paper. They think about things that happen in real life, things that happen in emotion, and some people like say seeing is believing. So if you can see it, then it makes it a lot more believable for you, knowing whatever it is you're trying to, I guess, show people. I can't really think of the right words for it. But yeah, basically so you can see what you're trying to show. I can't think of the right words.
When I was a kid, I always loved to write movies, and well, not really write movies, write stories. And then when I was 9, my dad helped me make a little stop-motion animation video, which then carried on to making live action videos today. I still make stop-motion animation videos. I just think it's definitely a great medium to tell a story through, and it's my favorite way to tell a story through.
I would have to say that, well, I guess ever since I was little, I loved to write stories. I would say that stories and filmmaking go hand in hand. Even if I get older and continue to go into this field, I would still love to write and direct my own stories. For me, I guess it's like when I write a story, like say it was in first person, I was just thinking to myself as I was writing this, how cool would it be to be able to see this live action and actually happening instead of just imagining it. So I would have to say that's a big part of it for me.
Yeah, well, the thing about film that's different from everything else is that, like, with film, it's almost kind of like a combination between art and also writing and also sound, because, like, with music, like, you make the song or whatever, and then you hear it, and then it's just the song, but when with film, you're actually using the song and you're putting it to visuals, and you're kind of like adding a new side to it, like adding a new part to it. And it's the same thing with art. Like you draw a picture, but if you start drawing 24 pictures and then you add them all in 1 second and you start like piecing it together and you actually create motion, it's kind of like you're creating a story basically, and it's a lot more, in a way, it's a little more freedom, I guess, because you have a lot more to work with, because you have more control over the visuals and the sound and the acting and everything. And it's kind of like what you said, where it's not like you're just coming up with something and like it's just on paper or it's just in your head or whatever. Like when you have to actually recreate it in person and then film it through a camera, and that's kind of what attracted me through film, is that you're actually creating it in person. You're actually working with real people and real actors. So that's my take on that.
Okay, I think you pretty much got my first question, but I also wondered, like how many movies you've made, or what's your experience with film, and then also about any advice you have for other young filmmakers.
Well, I've made several short films and videos and stuff. Like, I really don't have a distinct number. I think like I have around 60 or 70 like YouTube videos, which is like actual short films and like skits and stuff like that. But prior to that, I mean, I really don't have a definite number. I mean, I've been making films since I was around like 9 or 10 or so. So I mean, it's been a lot. But and as far as advice goes, I mean, I would just say, just do it. Like, just pick up a camera and just try it out for yourself. Because, I mean, there's really no specific formula. Or there's really no specific way to make a film. It's just kind of a thing that you do yourself. I mean, that's the thing about film, is that you can't really teach it, because it's not really a specific formula. It's not like math or science or English or things like that, where it's like math, there's a specific way to do math. Like there's a specific way to do science. There's a specific way to do all these things. But with film and with stories, it just kind of comes from within you. So that's my advice.
As far as experience goes for me, I would say that YouTube was definitely an outlet early on. I'd always liked making YouTube videos, trying to make people laugh at least. Video games and gameplays that I'd record with my like $20 camcorder that I thought was the coolest thing. I would say, sorry, my mind just went blank. As far as advice goes, I would say you don't have to be like, have the best equipment, and if you don't feel like you have a storyline, then I guess just give it time, because you can't just write I wouldn't try and write a whole story in a day. As far as that goes, give it time. Even if you have like the cheapest camcorder or something like that, try and think of a storyline that might go along with it. I mean, we saw with Paranormal Activity and the big blockbusters that it was made on a budget of, I think, around $3 to $4 million, which is like pocket change for Hollywood, and it was one of the highest grossing movies of all time. So you don't necessarily have to be the best. Give it time, and then just, I guess, keep chasing your dream if you really want to do it. Also get kind of like involved in the filming community. I would have to say that Nick Kellis boot camp for film was the very first thing I did, and it really got me thinking as to, okay, this is what I need to do. This is like the order that I would make a movie in. So I would also like to thank Nick Kellis for getting me jump-started, whom I met through this very organization.
For experience for me, I started making stop motion animation videos when I was 9, and from then on out, I would make some stop motion animation videos and some short little skits with my friends that I ended up posting to later on. Time and Space was my just need to kind of have the liking for film, and you need to pick up a camera and do whatever you need to do to bring your story to screen.
For me, Brain Trust was actually my first film. I had a lot of experience with filming things because my dad being a professional photographer. So that helped a lot. His experience helped me make my movie. As for advice, I'd say if you have a story and you want to tell it, you don't have to really apply to any rules other than what you want. As long as you get what you want out of your film, as long as you can tell what you want to tell with your film, then you succeeded.
This is for each of you individually. Put your name and film in. Number 2, your age. 3, where are you from? And 4, how long did it take you to shoot the Palm King?
Doesn't matter what order you said.
Yeah, that's all right. Hang on.
Okay.
Your name and film in.
If my film was Brain Trust, it took me about 5 or 6 hours to film the whole thing. And I was 15 when I filmed it. I'm 16 now. It was that whole film.
Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
My film was Time and Space. I started writing the script for that in pretty sure December of 2012, and basically had a script finished set in stone by probably February, March, and then I filmed off and on, depending on my time with my friends on weekends at school. Usually I figured that, and I finished up around April or May and was able to submit it to my high school film test, and it ended up winning. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. Are there any other, I forget what the other questions? Is that it? I'm 15 right now.
My name is Wade Healy. My film was The Root of All Evil. I am 15 and a half. I say 15 and a half because I now have my permit. It's kind of a big thing for me. I am from Van Wert, Ohio. It's not far from here. And was that all the questions? Oh, how long did it take me to shoot? It took me, I forget what it was. It was about 3 or 4 hours, but it was very, very fast considering how many actors I had and everybody's different schedules. So if it would have been around my time to get everything perfected, probably would have taken around 6 or 7 hours. But in that short amount of time that we had, I made it work in around 3 to 4 hours.
My name is Ryan Gagne. I'm 15, and my film was Varsity. I'm from the Toledo area, Maumee in particular, and I shot it in 2 days, and I did all the editing in 1. But it took me probably around a month or so, or maybe a month and a half or so. I'm not quite sure how long I spent writing the script, because I would write it and then I would get stuck or whatever, and then I would come back and I would rearrange it and I would change it. I spent a long time